Hey there! Welcome to this another day of Christmas New Year coverage from the Etch Play team, and today it's time to crown our winners. We're talking about Game of the Year 2020. 2020 has been an obviously strange year, one for the history books in a variety of ways. We've also seen incredible creativity from across the games industry, and we want to celebrate some of those games, talk about our favourites. I'm joined by a selection of play teamers and play team friends. We've got Ben Joy. Say hi, Ben.
Hello.
We've got Joe.
Hello.
We've got Miles.
Hello.
And we've got Emma.
Hello.
Let's just get straight into it with our first game, shall we? First game's easy to talk about because it's my game. I chose it for the list. If you've been watching the content we're putting out this year, it won't be a surprise to you that I've picked Hades as my Game of the Year for 2020. I think it's an exceptional game with a number of extremely redeeming qualities, from the writing to the art direction, combat, and more than any other game, it's kept me coming back time after time this year. I checked the other day actually, I've spent just over 55 hours with it so far, and I still feel like I'm discovering new things that I've not seen before, which is an incredible amount of content for such a small team to put together. So Hades is great. It's available for Nintendo Switch and PC, and hopefully other consoles in the future. They've not announced that yet, but I have to imagine it's coming. It's a very popular game. And yeah, thank you, Supergiant, for creating Hades, and you're my game of 2020. Let's go to Emma, and if you've been watching the show, you'll know that Emma is a big fan of one game in particular, one of the standout success stories of 2020 really, Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Emma, why don't you talk a bit about what Animal Crossing has meant to you in 2020 and why it's been such an important year for that game?
Yeah, I think in terms of Etch Play content, I'm a bit of a broken record when it comes to Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Every week in the roundup, I'm there talking about it. I think it's had a really good year when a lot of people have had a really bad year. It kind of came out at the right time. It was delayed, but then it ended up getting released at the end of March, 20th of March this year, which coincided with lockdown for a lot of countries. And I think it was just what everyone needed. It was that place to escape when holidays were cancelled, people couldn't leave their houses, they were feeling kind of anxious or alone. For me, I saw a lot of people playing it on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at the start of lockdown. I didn't have a Switch at that point, but it was part of the reason that I decided just to take the plunge and get one, and I'm really glad that I did, although I have sunk a lot of time into it. It's a good escape, so if I am feeling anxious and I can't focus on something, it's a good game to play. It's very calming, it's very kind of easy to focus on. If I can't see friends, I'll go and hang out with my villagers. If I can't celebrate events like Halloween, I'll go and join the kind of in-game play at that point. So yeah. Been good fun, been good company.
It's been a real cultural touchstone for people this year, and it's just got that vibe that everyone's been looking for. There's a kind of softness to it, and it's not just about the fact that the game is, relatively easy, has a low barrier to entry to get started. I think there's something about the overall tone of that game that has really struck a chord this year. I know, Joe, you've played Animal Crossing as well. You were a fan as well, right?
Yeah. I've played them since not the first one that was on the GameCube, but the one after on the original DS. And this one really took what they had in the DS one and just kind of let you go wild with it. Like, you can now decorate your whole island, your whole village, rather than just inside your house, which has really kind of helped you build your own environment to live in, rather than just what's there already.
Yeah. Well done to Animal Crossing: New Horizons and Nintendo. You've had an incredible year, and you've also received the prestigious honour of being one of Etch Play's Games of the Year 2020. Next, let's go to Miles. Miles is our resident Japan fan. You are a lover of all games Japan and all Japanese culture. So this is a game with a strong Japanese pedigree, and it's maybe indicative of some of the trends we've been seeing in games recently. A lot of nostalgia, a lot of remakes, and the game you've chosen is Final Fantasy VII, the remake, which came out this year for the PlayStation 4. And you're a big Final Fantasy fan, so you must have been looking forward to this for a while, right?
Yeah, I was very excited. The original Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games, probably actually my favorite game of all time. So like when they announced that they were remaking it, I was very excited. It was announced back in 2015, I think, and there was a lot of skepticism because the past few Final Fantasy games haven't been well received. So I think a lot of people were a bit tentative about how this would turn out, but they just smashed it out of the park, and it's fantastic. Not just one of my favorite games of the year, but like favorite games of all time.
Yeah, really well done to Square Enix for delivering a remake that actually seems to have lived up to expectations and potential. Like a lot of remakes don't always do that. Sometimes you visit the nostalgia well and it's like, we're over this now. But they made just enough changes to keep people interested, which I think is successful. And obviously there's future installments to come, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'd like to know Miles' opinion on the new Smash character that got announced last night at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Joe, this video's not going to go out today. You've dated it by saying that the Game Awards was last night. You've just ruined the TV magic of how we record these videos in advance.
That's not canon. That's not canon.
But go on then, let's do it anyway. We've opened it now. How do you feel about Sephiroth being in Super Smash Bros. Miles?
It's great news. I'm a big Smash fan, so give me a good excuse to go back to it and play Sephiroth.
It's another guy with a sword.
Yeah.
Now you've had a few weeks. Now you've had a few weeks to play it. That it's been out for a few weeks. Really enjoying it.
Yeah. Do you guys enjoy your Christmas dinner? Yeah, mine was great. Let's go to Benjoy. So Benjoy, regular contributor to the show. You will know him if you watch the weekly show on Twitch every 4 p.m, but not this week because it's Christmas. You've chosen something, I would say, in a slightly similar vein to Animal Crossing. It's got a cutesiness to it, or a kitsch. And this is Windbound by Deep Silver. And do you want to talk about what Windbound was for you this year and why you really enjoyed it?
Yeah, so Windbound by 5 Live Studios and published by our good friends Deep Silver. So I came across the game actually because we worked on the website with Deep Silver for the game, and I was kind of looking at like that. I really like to look at the art style and reading about the games. Like, oh, that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun to play. And then when I had a week off, like, oh well, now's the perfect time to pick it up and give it a go. And I think you're right in kind of the similarity to Animal Crossing is at times it is very relaxing. So you've got to. I played it on survival mode, and you kind of
doesn't sound very relaxing.
No, so it gets that's part of the reason why I liked it. So the relaxing part is like when you're just you're collecting materials to build like boats and you're collecting food to survive. But then because it is a survival game, you've got to keep yourself alive. So then all of a sudden it becomes very hectic when you're running low on food and your energy's getting low. And there's no berries around. It's like, oh well, there's this huge wildebeest that I can try and kill, but I've not got a lot of weapons. So you've then got to try and kill it, and obviously it doesn't want to be killed, so then it's trying to kill you. And
so relaxing.
It goes from nice and relaxing to super intense in like a few seconds. So it really keeps you on your toes, and then when you're sailing in the seas, you've got to have enough energy to make sure you can make the distance. So there's quite a lot of planning that goes into it. And you don't have to play it on survival mode. I played it on survival mode, which is probably a bad choice. The running joke, which has an element of truth in it, is that I'm really bad at games, and I was really bad at this. And every time you die, you go right back to the beginning. So you could have been playing for 3, 4, 5 hours of progress and then make a mistake and die, and you're all the way back to the beginning. And I died a lot of times. But every time I died, I felt like I'd learned to I know how to avoid that now. And I got better and better, and each time I got further and further, and it feels like a real accomplishment when you do get further. So yeah, I really enjoyed it and would recommend picking it up. Maybe not as mainstream as some of the others, but definitely worth it.
Yeah, we love indies, we love small games, we love innovative little different things that you can try. And if you want to see just how bad Ben is at games, you can find more videos of him playing on our YouTube channel. He is pretty bad. Let's go to Joe. And a game which is, I guess, a success story of a relatively long development cycle and public development cycle. You are awarding Factorio as your Game of the Year 2020.
I am. I've been playing it probably for about 6 years. since it first came out in early access. It wasn't even on Steam. You had to go through their own site and their own payment platform. But yeah, it's a super cool game. It's very Civilization has the one more turn aspect. This is very much that, like, oh, I'll just do this one more thing, and then, oh, but now I need to do this thing to make that thing better, and it all just kind of like chains together, and then it's suddenly 3 a.m.
and then time has passed.
Yeah.
And you're like, what, was that a waste of time, or was it the best use of time?
Exactly the same as Civilization. It is a niche indie game for sure, but if you you're in that niche it's targeting, then you will lose a lot of time to Factorio very easily.
Well, there you have it. There's just some of our picks. And if you're on the Etch website right now, you can actually read more about all of our picks, plus some more we haven't talked about in the video, in the blog, which could even be below this video if you're watching it embedded. If you're watching it on YouTube, go to etchuk.com/play to find all the winners and our thoughts about them in written form. Thank you to my guests for the video, though. Thank you to Ben, Joe, Miles, and Emma. And we will see you again, hopefully very soon, on an Etch Play video. Have a happy new year.